Hey crafters, it's Leo with Dreaming Tree. Things are heating up this Valentine's Day with a spicy little card that says exactly how you feel boldly. This "You Set My Heart on Fire" design is fiery, fun, and super easy to put together. Perfect for your hot tamale of a husband or wife. Let's turn up the heat and get crafting. Okay, let's get started here. Now the first thing that I'm going to put together is the little caption, and as usual, your machine's going to cut it out, and you don't have to piece all the letters individually because of this little system we have here. I'm going to start with, in my case, I cut this layer out of a gold foil. It has a nice little diamond pattern on it. I think I used it on all the cards in this bundle actually. Okay, and just want to match it up with this solid layer as accurately as you can. Should fit pretty snug. There we go, just like that. And then we'll take the actual caption part. There's a lot of little details on this. I would start with the thicker areas and just do a series of little dots. No sense in trying to cover this whole thing with glue, although, well, not every inch of it anyway. Do your best to work that perimeter, and especially the little areas in between the letters and those little sections that make up the little letter details. Now, if we don't get it right the first time, we can always go in and use our little painting method to clean it up, but go ahead and line that up as accurately as you can. And there you go, look at that. A nice dimensional cut out caption. We'll press that down, and we can always come back to it and take a look at it to see if any of the little detailed areas need a little extra love, but I think that turned out nice. You set my heart on fire. I love it, especially with the gold foil. That looks really nice. Okay, let's take a look at our card base. I sort of had this laid out, and this is the white part that cuts out. There's two actually. One is a little liner and one is for the face. This is where you're going to write your caption. This one's a little bit larger, and that's how you know it's for the inside. Plus this one has a series of little markers and little circles cut out in the four corners. Now I ran this through my embossing machine to give it a little extra life, and we're going to glue this down using the little markers in the four corners to help us with our placement. And also the little markers on here, there's two big round ones here. If you were to take this and place it, you'll notice that the markers match up with the corners of the bottom and left and right of the caption. So this is going to be your bottom, and this is going to be the top. So let's get this glued down. Now, because we emboss this, there's going to be areas where we apply some glue, but the glue's not really going to do any work because it's in a little crevice. It's not going to make contact with our card base, and that's okay. That's very normal when it comes to embossing, but we just want to make sure that we get this on nice and straight so that everything looks symmetrical and even, of course. And press that down. Of course, I had a little bit of glue that shot out there. I'm not perfect. That's okay though, it happens. Okay, so that's that. And then we have this beautiful little border, and you can see a series of little markers in all four corners. And if you just kind of place this on there, you'll see that the little markers kind of hug the valleys of these little scalloped areas. Even without those, you simply just want to make sure that you are getting this centered on there. Okay, and we are going to glue this down flat. And because it is so detailed, you're going to just kind of run your glue around this as accurately as you can. I try not to put it on my table because I don't want glue getting on the next pieces that I'm working with. We'll do our best to get as much glue on this as possible, and then if we need to, I'll probably have to go around with my little gluing or my little painting method to clean it up and get it to really stick, and that's okay. Use those little guides to help you with the placement. And we got a couple things working against us here. The embossing that I added also kind of makes it a little more difficult for this to stay down, just because we don't have as much surface to press down against. But let's see how far we can get with just what we did. I don't think it's going to be enough, but it'll be enough to hold it in place. And I'm going to grab a few pieces of scrap. These are just little scraps that I cut out when I'm done with projects, and I have paper that I know I just won't be able to use for anything else. I just cut them into little triangles, or rectangles, and then I use them to paint glue into areas that need a little extra love. So just like that, and what I'll do is use the other end of it just to kind of see if any areas kind of lift up more than others. I'll just tuck a little bit of glue in there and press it down. That part needed a lot of love. This part, I barely got any glue on. And I'll just go around and just touch up any little area that is just not sitting quite flat. Let's test this. There's a little spot there. But for the most part, just that little bit of glue that we got in there is doing the trick. And as long as it dries, we'll be in good shape. And I think I got it. Let's try up here. Okay. Well, this part kind of came away, so I'm going to lift this up and just apply a little extra glue right on that strip there. And I'll hold that down. So we're working with some really delicate little pieces, and well, what happens? Okay, but that turned out nice. All right, let's grab our flame. So we have a large orange one, and then I cut this out of a yellow glitter, which actually is really cool. And that's way too much glue. Get rid of that. I think my nozzle was starting to dry up a little bit, and I got it before it could fully dry. Throw some glue on that, on the little flames. Get that center covered up. And this one is going to cover this up pretty much almost completely, with the exception of a few flames up at the top. Okay, there we go. So just have that little bit of orange poking up, and I did ink that. Give it a little bit of extra dimension. There we go. And now this guy here, you'll notice that there's a set of little markers on the corners, or right here on that flame, and then right there on that flame. Okay. One thing that you can look at though is this little half circle and this little half circle. They're going to fully be covered up by this part of the orange right there and right there. Okay, so that's how you know that you have it centered, or on there correctly, I should say. There's going to be a bit of a border going around this. Now this is cardstock going on a true glitter. So I'm going to go a little bit heavier with the glue on this, and I know that I'm going to have to spend and wait a few extra moments for this to fully cure. Okay, so what I'm going to end up doing is just placing this underneath my mat and letting it dry and work on other things while it does. Okay, so give that a few seconds to at least get a little tacky and grab if you too are using a glitter like I am. That's nice. And we'll flip it over and press down from the other side. And then I'm going to take this and slip this underneath my mat and let my mat do the rest of the work. In the meantime, we have our little insert, and this is where you're going to write your caption. We want to put that in there so that it's centered, and we mostly have an even border all the way around. And I'm going to focus the glue just around the perimeter and go very easy so I don't warp the paper. Maybe just a little bit in there in the center. And pop that right in. Do your best to center it and keep it nice and level and straight. And press that down. while my cardstock is setting against the glitter. There we go. Okay, these little circles here, I think I'm going to put some pearls on those. All right, let's see if this guy's ready for me. Yeah, I think he's ready. Okay, so this we're going to glue down flat. And you'll notice up here, there's a little upside down V. There's one here and there's one here. And that is specifically there for the tips of this flame, and this flame. And that's how you know that you have it lined up correctly. Okay, so we'll flip this guy around. And now another thing here, we're gluing this down onto an embossed, well, I am, you may be as well, gluing this down onto an embossed surface. So again, there's going to be areas of this glue that is not going to make any contact with this white piece that's embossed. So I just went a little bit heavier with the glue and kind of maybe put more down than I normally would, just to make sure that I have good solid connection. And that naturally raises this layer up as well, which is kind of cool without us even having to do anything. So I'm going to press that down for just a moment and let that set. There we go. Cool. So now let's get our peppers. Okay, move these out of the way. Our main layer is this green layer, and I did hit this with a little bit of ink here and there. We're going to start with that layer, then we're going to take this. This is I think it's a red wine, I think. And when I mention these color names, this is all 12 by 12 cardstock's Encore swatch. So these are specific colors from 12 by 12's line of cardstock, which for me, well, it replaced AC cardstock. We've been using this exclusively for quite some time now. It has pretty much the same texture as AC, but we're not running into problems locating it. And they are an awesome little company. Okay, so next, make sure I am doing this correctly. So there's one green pepper and two red peppers. This green pepper here, you can see it's kind of cut off a little bit. Okay, and that's by design. That guy's going to go right in the center here. Okay, but what we're going to do is we're going to build the peppers individually here. We're going to start with the stem layer. Then we're going to glue the white on top of that. Try to get some glue up to the very tip of that. Oh, nice and easy. Grab this, flip it around, and we're going to match this one up first. Just make sure that most of, not all of that green behind it, aside from the stem portion, is nice and hidden once you apply the whites. And then we'll do the same thing with this green layer. I'm going to clean off my nozzle. It's a little dirty. And we do have some little cutouts on this that will show the white behind it. And again, with this, we want to make sure that we try to cover up as much of that white as possible, except for the little highlights there. Got a little glue that shot out. That's perfect. Okay, so there's one pepper. And you can see that these two red peppers, they kind of angle differently. They all come in, so just make sure you have the right one going on the correct base. And get this one glued down. I don't know about you guys, but I always try to put myself in your shoes. And I know that majority, based on statistics, of our customers are women, and you're likely, I'm going to say 8 out of 10 times, it's going to be a woman making this for their husband. Not always, but it's possible. And I got a feeling, I mean, it's not, I don't know. Most of the guys that I know love spicy food. I know women that do too. I'm really, Liesel's starting to get into more spicy foods because of me. But I think anyone that loves spicy things will really appreciate this card. I'm obsessed with spicy foods, and I even grow my own peppers, and I've grown ghost peppers and habaneros, and you know, anytime I'm making a recipe or eating anything, I'm like, where's the hot sauce? Could be anything. It could already be spicy. I'm always adding more heat to everything. Okay, so this one, I'll pop that right on there. So I think this one will be cool. And I'm guessing that maybe we may need to offer an alternative caption for this, because this could also possibly work as a birthday card, maybe. I don't know. I thought it was appropriate for Valentine's Day. That's why we're doing that. But of course, we'll have to see about possibly customizing this for other occasions. Okay, the last layer for our other, these are all jalapenos. This one just sat on the vine a little bit longer, because that's how it works. If you've never grown jalapenos, they just like, orange peppers, green peppers turn red and yellow turn orange, yeah. I know that for a fact with jalapenos. Anyway, all right, so this funky guy here, whoops, that is kind of cut off here, he's gonna go down first, and we are gonna try to maintain a little bit of that dark green around the outer edge of this. That was a pretty fine cut there. I'm seeing little bits of white, but we do need to get this glued down either way. So go ahead and do that. Throw a little dot of glue on the stem, and remember, try to keep an even border up at the top, not at the bottom, just up at the top. So we have 2 layers of green. There we go, and along the side here. Perfect. And this guy is going to go like this. So we're going to have that dark red around this entire pepper. Just a little bit of that dark red showing around the perimeter. Throw some glue on that. And it's chopped off, but it doesn't matter because it's going to be hidden by the caption anyway. So that was by design. There we go. Perfect. Just like that. And I'll grab this guy. This is making me craving Mexican food now, of course. I can look at almost anything and crave Mexican food, though. Okay, so that one again, a little bit of that dark red around the perimeter as well. And there you have your peppers. Okay, so our peppers are done. And now we're going to put glue on this entire backing. And you can see there's a little bit of an impression of a stem there. And that's where this stem is going to go, like that. And there's a little bit of impression of a stem there as well. So just kind of keep your eye on those 2 little focal points there. Stem here, and then the rest of it will just fall into place. Perfect. Now we have a series of hearts here, and I know that these 2 go here, but I'm going to help you real quick. We have 2 of the parfait, 2 of the red. The 2 larger ones, okay, are going to go here and here. So the largest pink one is going to go right there. You can see the little shadow impression of a heart. That's going to go right there, like so. And then the other one, whoops, let me double check this and make sure before I put my foot in my mouth. Yep, that one's going to go there. So we have a red heart there. Okay. I just thought about creating some cards maybe of just things that you get out of your garden. I think that would actually be pretty cool. All right, now there's a little marker here and here where we're going to put green hearts. And these seem to be pretty much the same size, so it doesn't matter which one you grab. Okay. So the marker here, put a little green heart right there. Just match it up with the little markers there if it's a little off, not the end of the world. Okay, then a little marker here for another green heart. Just a little dot of glue will do. Right there. Try to get it right into the marker. Okay, and then we're going to flip-flop. So we're going to take a red heart and put one here, and then a pink heart and put one here, and then we have a tiny little orange heart. That's going to be the last one. So the red heart's going to go right here, like so. Pink heart's going to go right here. It's the larger one, like so. And then finally, we have a tiny little orange heart that's going to go right there. Got little hearts flying out of the flames. And that just goes right there around those markers. Okay, so there's that. And the final touch on this, again, you have the little markers down here for our caption. And this is going to sit, this can sit flat up here on the peppers, but down here we're going to need some foam squares to elevate it a little bit. Okay, so I'll throw one here and one here. And the rest of this, what we can do is just put a little bit of glue right along here. If we kind of go further out than we need to, it's not a huge deal. No one's going to see the back of that anyway. Use these guides here to help you with the placement of the caption, and then rest the rest of it on the peppers to finish it off. There we go. Super cool. Okay, there we go. If you have some little pearls, you can put those there. But let's take a look at our envelope, because we have another little pepper to put together here. I'm going to start with this layer, and similar to the, is that supposed to pop out? No, that's a guide. Similar to the little flame that we have on the actual card base, we incorporated a very similar layering. Ooh. Okay, so that's going to go just like that. Just match up those flames. Okay, and now here, of course, we're going to start with this. That's a wine color, I think. And I have this green layer. The white is going to go on top of the green. I'm just doing this last because I know it's going to take a little bit of time for that glue to set on my glitter. So let's match the stem portion of the pepper up with the white, like so. Press that down. And we've got a red jalapeno on here. Throw that on top of the white, just like we did the other ones. There we go. Okay. And this is going to sit on this piece here, again with a full border all the way around. So let's flip that around. Throw a little bit of glue on that stem and pop it right on here. Completely centered, so just a tiny little bit of that dark red shows all the way around. And then finally, you can glue this onto the glitter. As you can see, I'm going a lot heavier with the glue here. And that is just going to go right like that. You can have a little bit of that glitter showing right there for the flame. The rest of it should match up nicely. I'm going to put this underneath my mat for a second, let the mat do some work while we glue this down. So we're going to bring the two flaps in and apply our glue starting here and work our way down like that. And down here, lift this up, press down. Okay. And then this is going to close up like this, and you can see a little spot for our little pepper. Definitely one of the coolest little envelopes that we've done, I think. One of my favorites anyway. Okay. And just follow the contour of the little flap there. It's kind of hard to see when it's sitting on top of itself, but there you go, just like that. Press that down, and there is your cool accordion envelope. That just looks like it's real almost. I love it. So that's it. You can see here, that's gonna fit in there perfectly, and that will wrap it up. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This card turned out awesome. If you enjoyed the video, please take a moment, visit us on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. If you're looking for this content, you will find it exclusively over at Creative Fabrica, where you can purchase the files individually or gain access to this and over 1,000 Dreaming Tree files for $47 a year, not to mention over 200,000 fonts and 19 million graphics. It's a steal. So I hope you join us over there. And as always, I look forward to crafting with you again.